Question 2a. Use graph paper to draw the graphs of y equals minus 2 over x and y equals 4 minus x squared on the same axis for domain minus 3 less or equal to x less or equal to 3. Use a scale of 2 centimeters for 1 unit. And for the B part, use your answer to part A to estimate the solutions to minus 2 over x equals 4 minus x squared. So we're talking about solutions. So the first graph is y equals minus 2 over x plus 0, which can be written as minus 2x to the power minus 1 plus 0. A equals minus 2, this is minus 2. C equals to 0, and that's 0. And n equals minus 1, this is minus 1. So n is odd. When a is positive, we know the kind of graph we will get is, I will get something like that and like that. So that's for positive a, where n is odd. So that's when n is odd. When n is odd and a is negative, we get that and that. So that's a negative. So you can see we've got a negative, which is this one, and n is odd. So this is what we get. When a is negative, we get that, second quadrant and fourth quadrant. When n is odd, and when a is positive, when n is odd, we get first quadrant and third quadrant because they're odd. Now we need to find the horizontal asymptote, which is 0 because C is the horizontal asymptote, and the vertical asymptote is when x is 0 because we set x to 0, the denominator set to 0, and the denominator is x here. Set that to 0, and that's the asymptote there. So vertical asymptote is x equals to 0 and c equals to 0. So now we know what to do in sketching this. We may need to plug in some values between minus 3 and 3. That's why we were told to use that. So we may need to find some values between minus 3 and 3 to sketch the curve. For the second curve, which is y equals 4 minus x squared. Let's write this in a quadratic standard form. Y equals minus x squared plus 4. Now b is missing, a is minus 1. So the point A here is minus 1. Because I'm comparing the quadratic with quadratic, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. So that's a quadratic, and my a is minus 1, and b is 0, and c is 4. 4 minus x squared can be written as 2 squared minus x squared. So that's y equals 2 minus x and 2 plus x. That's difference of two squares. If I have a squared minus b squared, that would be a plus b and a minus b. b is x and a is 2. Now I've got the two factors. I need to set them to 0. And set them to 0 because that will be equal to 0. X will be equal to 2 for that first factor. That's 2 minus x equal to 0. X equals to 2. For the second factor, 2 plus x equal to 0, x equals minus 2. So x equals to minus 2. So these are the two roots that we need to sketch the curve. And when y is 0, when x is 0, y equals 4 when x equal to 0. And that's the line of symmetry as well, because to find a line of symmetry for quadratic, you would say x equals minus b over 2a, which is minus 0 over minus 2, because a is minus 1, and that's 0. So this curve is an N-shaped curve. Umbrella is up, a is negative, and the line of symmetry for this curve, the line of symmetry is x equal to 0. So that's x equal to 0. The maximum height will be y equals 4. That's why it crosses y at y equals 4. Because when x is 0, y is 4. And that's the maximum value as well. Because if you put x equal to 0 here at the turning point, which is the line of symmetry, you get y equals 4. Now to sketch this graph, I've drawn some points between minus 3 to 3, and when x is minus 3 here, that will be plus 2 over 3, which is 0.667, so 0.7. When x is minus 2 here, the minus cancel out, you get 1, minus 2 over 2 is 1. When x is 2, and when x is minus 1 here, minus 1, minus 2 over minus 1 is 2. When x is 0, is a line of vertical asymptote. So that's a vertical asymptote. The line will approach it, the curve will approach it, but will never touch it. When x is when x is 1, see, y is minus 2. When x is 2, y is minus 1. When x is 3, y is minus 0.7. So that's the quick values we will need. Likewise for the second curve as well. When x is minus 3, y is minus 5, because minus 3 squared is plus 9. 4 minus 9 is minus 5. Because if we put minus 2 here, minus 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. Minus 1, you get 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. When x is 0, you get 4. That's line of symmetry. When x is 1, you get 3, because 4 minus 1 is 3. 1 squared is 1. When x is 2, 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So again, that's the roots. When x is 3, you get 9. 4 minus 9 is minus 5. Now try and sketch the curve. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. So this is the x-axis, and that's y equal to 0. This is the y-axis, and that's x equal to 0. That's minus x, that's minus y. When x is minus 3, y is 0.7. Something there. When x is minus 2, y is 1. When x is minus 1, y is 2. And when x is 0, that's a line of asymptote. When x is 1, y is minus 2. When x is 2, y is minus 1. And when x is 3, y is minus 0.7. The reciprocal graph. So the graph, presuming it's coming this way. Right. As it comes, it attaches itself onto those points and try and approach the line of asymptote. Right. And here it's coming from there. So it's coming from there. is going towards the line of asymptote. So that's the curve. That's the reciprocal curve. It's a negative, so it will be in the second and the fourth quadrant. And for the other curve, x is -3, y is -5. So that's a point there. X is -2, y is 0. So that's one of the roots. X is -1, y is 3. X is 0, y is 4. That's the turning point. X is 1, y is 3. So it's a symmetry. X is 2, y is 0. X is 2, y is 0. And x is 3, y is -5. We draw the turning point there. Okay. And then we come to that point. So that's the curve. And from this curve, we need to find the solution. And the solution will be this point where the curve meets and that point where they meet. That's the solutions here. So those are the solutions. The first point here would be x equals, I can see it's about, x is about 2.2, about 2.2, and y, so this is the coordinate y, it's about -0.9. So that's the coordinate there. And this point here, x is going to be minus about 1 point, so minus 1.7 or 6, 5 or 7, minus 1.7, and the y value would be about 1.2, 1.3. And for the second point, or the third point actually, x will be minus 0.6 and y value will be about 3.7. So those are the values that we need to use when we're sketching. We could have done this straight away actually without going through these process here, but the idea of general sketching, it's good to be aware of this process here, knowing the negative and the positive differences, and then the odd powers, knowing the two factors and the roots, knowing the symmetry. It's all very important here. So that's the way to sketch the graph.